Hey, it's Beth. So, Super Project 2.0, what would I like to propose? So now that I've had enough time to kind of play in the sandbox of this semester, in the program more generally, I think I might also be starting to understand my style of learning in a way that I never actually did before. That's both very exciting and also deeply troubling. How is it possible that a 39-year-old teacher who's in their third post secondary degree could not have understood how they learn best? And I think simply put, I realize now in this program, surrounded by the wonderful people I'm surrounded by and the support that I have in my professors and my colleagues and our school, I never encountered a formalized school system that allowed, let alone encouraged or empowered me to understand how I learn, to question what learning even means to me, what my needs were as a learner. And I recognize now they've never been met, definitely not in tertiary education, in ways that caused me significant and cause me now significant physical and mental harm. But I couldn't advocate for myself because I didn't I didn't see any of those things as systems things. I saw them as me. There's something wrong with me. Um, but yeah, my time experience in this program so far, has me understanding the place of, or working to understand the place of my relationships and community interactions and in my learning, to advocate for a design to approach evaluation that lets me participate in formal education in ways that don't, or ways that cause me less physical and mental harm, in ways that let me feel a sense of alignment in who I am as a person and how and what I've been asked to produce as evidence of my learning. And, moreover, I've never been part of co-constructing what a course could look like, or, modifying anything in terms of stuff with professors or teachers before, my experience kind of floating the super project at the end of semester one to my three professors. I had never been part of being empowered to have that experience, and I had to ask for that myself, and that was terrifying, but everybody responded so positively to it. So now that I'm going back to that well again, I feel empowered because it's happened once already before. But I'm in my third degree and I'm 39 years old. This shouldn't be my first experience on this side of the coin with empowered learning. um, and I'm happy that I've been doing things differently with my kids in the ways that I felt like I could to co-construct courses or criteria or assessments or assignments with them. But I also see now how far from my ideal and that living contradiction, like we saw in the video. So the living theorist work from the on Interview with Liz. Yeah, living contradiction. I see now how much of a living contradiction I am, and I saw that at the end of semester one, but I see it in new and deeper ways now as well. So I think that when I'm looking at Super Project 2.0, it's going to be how can we take these ideas that we regularly espouse to classroom teachers, working with kids in the primary secondary school systems, and apply them as students or teachers or learners in the tertiary system, because I have a long way to go in that, and I think the system itself has a long way to go in that as well. So I think my goal for Super Project 2.0 is to take all of the remaining kind of work that I have that's still to be completed, and the stuff that isn't done yet is not done because I'm still figuring out where it fits to stuff in my brain, but I'm following this neurodivergent way of of learning, which I know is, in alignment with some other ways of thinking. But, this pattern of I need to take time to understand what the rules are supposed to be. It's a super slow process for me. It involves reading the rules, having the opportunity to ask a million questions and have that process facilitated. So that, some of the barriers to communication that I have or people generally can have are removed, so that you're using good universal design to kind of get feedback and elicit feedback or seek it out. I make a lot of observations to interpret the rules because I have to, because things that seem clear to me sometimes aren't clear to other people, and vice versa. I like to create a few things to see if I can match the way that other people have interpreted those rules, and I've gotten to try that. And so I intentionally kind of use my work to poke around at what the boundaries are, and that just becomes data, right? So you can think about this as, this is all kind of research, research on kind of how I do this program. So I've always got a million kind of research irons in the fire. So, that takes a tremendous amount of time, but it's also absolutely critical to the way that my brain kind of forms meaning. So oftentimes I get feedback that's like, just rein it in. Like, don't do that. Don't do those 5 things. Can you just do something like not to Beth level? It's like the joke kind of in our school. And it's like, I understand that I, from lots of perspectives, go way overboard and stuff, but it's not like there's a version of done that looks different in my brain. I have to chase all these connections down, and I have to ask all these questions, and I have to chase stuff to ground for me to understand it all. I very much need to figure out where something fits within the conceptual framework I already have and kind of map that out and connect it. Or it's not real knowledge I'm gaining. I don't learn it. So, and in doing my work, I'm always trying to go with an eye to addressing blind spots, or shining a light, or working through tensions and taking you with me as I work through tensions that I discover in my, discovery steps, always with an eye to barriers and equality of access, or living contradictions. So my proposal is that I take all of my remaining work and roll it into Super Project 2.0, which is, how do I take everything I've learned in totality in a holistic way in the second semester, building on what came from the first semester, and use it to create something that embodies the spirit of all of that together, that can pull out specifically to meet the outcomes that I have to in my website, in the things that I'm now connecting to my website, like my Twitter, my Insta, and these other kind of multi resources I'm making thanks to Diane's class, or digital citizenship class, and things like the Genius Hour project, and thinking about, research and connections, and things like ARCS-based research. So I'm really excited to keep making. I've got a million things, half in production, and that's always how I go. Again, it's part of how I make meaning and learn. So I would like to formally propose this is what we do. In terms of grading things or pulling things out as separate pieces, that requires all conversations. So I'm excited to chat, I guess, and can walk you through. And the rubric, I would suggest for, if we're needing kind of different ways of grading, I'm open to whatever. It doesn't matter to me. So excited to, go on this journey for the second time. It's very scary, but it's pretty fun and really cool to have the opportunity to finally do, post-secondary education that I have the opportunity to make feel really valuable to me. So a million thanks to CBU for that, and can't wait to take this ride.